Hello once again. I am John Lonardo III, here today with another devotional on the Sermon on the Mount. For a little over a week now, we've been going through the greatest sermon ever given. The theme today is reconciliation. Let's dive right in to Matthew chapter 5, verses 23 to 26. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way, first to be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whiles thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence, till thou hast paid the utmost farthing. So now if you note, this passage today begins with the word therefore. And in the Bible, when we see the word therefore, we must ask ourselves, what is it there for? Now, if you look back at our devotion yesterday, in Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 and 22, it was about having anger towards another. And now, if you have not seen yesterday's devotion, you should probably pause where you are right now, go watch yesterday's devotion, and then return. Because we cannot interpret the scripture right here without viewing it in the light of what just happened in Matthew 5, 21 and 22. If we are, we would be taking this passage out of context. So it would definitely be good to go and watch yesterday's devotion before continuing with the devotion here today. One other thing is we are no longer under a sacrificial system. We haven't been ever since Jesus died for us on the cross. So we do not need to take a sacrifice to the altar. So how does this passage here apply to us? Well, the closest thing I would say for us today to be able to apply this is in our prayer life. One line in the Lord's Prayer goes like this: forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. So in our prayer life, we should routinely be thinking, have we offended anyone recently? Is there a friend, a brother, someone close to us who we have done wrong by? And if we have, we must hastily go and ask forgiveness and try to reconcile with them. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean we should stop praying until we have completed that, but it just shows the urgency here. If we wait, the problem will not go away. If anything, it's just going to get worse. I don't know if you've ever put off a task for a while, but sometimes, I'll be honest, I put off cleaning my apartment. And the more I put that off, the harder it's going to be when I get around to it. It would be much more manageable if I always did it right away. But because I don't, it's a lot more work and a lot more difficult when I get around to do it. The same thing goes in terms of reconciling with a brother. And now, in terms of going to reconcile, we live in a day and age where it is very easy to communicate with anybody and everybody. We can send messages on many different apps and websites. I mean, I can think of a dozen right off the top of my head of different ways to send a message to someone. We can even video call people. Hold up a cell phone, and my camera is transferring me to them, and their camera's transferring them to me. There's one app that I'm even on, which is relatively new for me, which I really like, I can leave a video message for a friend, and then that'll get sent to them, and then at their convenience, they view that video message and then send a message back to me, a video message for me to view at my convenience. I think that's pretty cool because I don't have to be typing, and I get to just say it right to the camera and they get to say it right back. So I get to just watch that opposed to having to read it. I think it's a pretty neat concept. But those are different ways we can use to communicate. So we can literally, in a few seconds, once it's brought to us, go to a brother to reconcile something we have done against them. But one warning I want to give is just because we have that possibility doesn't mean we should always use that. In our day and age today, people rarely will just go up and knock on a friend's door and say, "Hey, how are ya?" Or "I was in the neighborhood." It just doesn't happen much today. So if you go to a friend's house and knock on their door and say, "I need you to forgive me. I want to reconcile my wrong actions," and admit to them that you were wrong and say you want to reconcile, that right there shows a lot to them. And if you happen to be a good cook or a good baker, bake them some food or cook them for some food and bring it with you. It'll show them that much more that you're going out of your way and putting forth the effort saying, "I was wrong, I want to reconcile." Just because technology is advancing and making life easier doesn't necessarily mean it's better. So there are certainly times where you really should go to your friend and literally get in your car, drive to them, and say, "Hey, can you forgive me? Can we reconcile?" So, one thing I want to ask you today: have you done wrong to someone in your life and you have not reconciled it with them? If you have not reconciled the wrongs that you have done to someone, on this day, make that your number one priority. The longer you wait, the more difficult and the more work you are going to have to do to reconcile. I hope this message helped you today, and I hope it helps you and fuels you to have a great rest of your day.